Good morning, Christopher. How are you?
I'm doing great, Kevin. I had so much fun talking to you last time. I think we could have gone on for like a mini series, but I'll try not to talk so much.
Well, we get rolling and we both have a love for music. We have a passion for what we do. I think we're both guilty of talking that day. It was a pleasure, and I'm so thrilled to have you back here today to talk some more. And I just want to remind our audience. I hope you saw my first interview with Chris, Christopher Wyze and the Tellers, up and coming blues band. I can't wait to tell you some of the things that are going on because it's only been a short period of time since we talked, but I'll tell you, it's been like a lifetime because he's done some different things and getting some accolades in the business and just getting noticed because something special about his music. So welcome
You're
again,
too
Chris.
kind, and I'm delighted to be here with you, man.
Well, thank you. I think first I want to talk about this award because I have to tell you this. You know, I talk about the artists that I interview, of course, because I want to see them do well, and I talk to friends, and I have a lot of friends in the business. And I was talking to a friend who I know is a blues artist, and I told him about you, and I sent him a link to the interview. He came back to me about a week and a half later because you never know if people pay attention to it. You don't know what
Yeah,
they're. We're all
yeah,
busy in life, so you never know. He
sure.
came back to me about a week and a half later, and he told me about the Blues Award that you're about to tell people about. He told me about it. I was so thrilled. And then I talked to publicity and heard it from the world. But it was so neat that he heard about it. He's a bass player in the blues bands for his whole life.
That's great.
So
Wonderful.
yeah, so it's getting out there. He told me about it. He was all excited to tell me, I saw you on the list. So I'm going to tell the audience here, future audience, Blues Blast magazine does a yearly poll, and I want to say it's like 18th annual or something. I think it's
Yes, I think it is
right,
18. Yeah.
18th annual. So this is not something they just threw together last week. I mean, this is something they've been doing for 18 years. And so best artist debut album is what you had won the award for. Is that correct? Am I
Yeah.
saying that correct?
Best new artist debut album for 2025. That's it. Yeah.
So think about that. Here you are, you've worked a lifetime in the work world, in the business world, you've served your time. And here you are doing what you want to do in life later in life, which I really admire that. And I hope that I can follow that path someday. I hope I can stay on that road to keep trying. And here you are, best new artist debut album in the blues genre. Just amazing. Um, and I 6,000 people voted on that award, if I understand. And you shared the company with a lot of people that people who listen to blues music would know very well.
Yeah, what I think was kind of cool about it is just being nominated because they have a panel of, people that know blues music and just to be on the list, it's really cool. And then people vote and so we got lucky, I guess, but we got voted in and that's even more fun. But just to be nominated is really cool. And Blues Blast does a real nice job. They're out of Illinois there. They've been around a long time. They're well known in the blues world. And, it's just really kind of cool to say, hey, our music is okay, man. We're doing okay in the blues world. It's really kind of fun to be recognized.
Well, I have to tell our future audience, there's nothing about luck here. Nothing about luck. It was skill. It was skill. It was something different. It was something different in the blues world. When you listen to somebody's songs, you'll hear it mixes it up. It makes blues accessible to people that may have never tried the genre and that to try to listen to it because they don't know it. This feels not accessible to them. They're rock and rollers or whatever they like, or they like,
Yeah.
other genres. But this was a very accessible album and the story is wonderful. So luck was not involved. I tell my students, my music students, I say, when they go on auditions, I say, do well. I don't say good luck because it's not about
Exactly.
luck. It's about working hard and do well based on the time you've put your day together to have this moment
Well,
with
that's
that
really
list.
cool. And you mentioned, I certainly had a career outside of music, but, I got into music when I was young and I sang in choirs and it was a big deal to me. I loved it. It was wonderful performing. And then to be able to come back to it later after having been a writer for many, many years. So all the building blocks were there, Kevin. I think if I had started out and tried to do this when I was 20, I wouldn't have had the chops of life behind me or knowing how to write, which I write lyrics, and perform. I've been a performer in a blues band for 20 years, the front man, singing other people's songs. and now to be able to do our own at the encouragement really of a guy I met who was a good rock and roller. He was in the Eddie Money's band, and he and I collaborated on a lot of those songs on our Stuck in the Mud album, and he's been my producer. And so to be able to work with somebody, I see all the albums. I love looking at your back wall there, and I'm sure he knows some of those guys and worked with them. But to have a mentor and friend like that, his name's Ralph Carter, to say, you got to write music, man. I don't think he said kid, but so yeah, I think I had the building blocks. It didn't come out of nowhere. There was a lot of preparation in a lot of ways, to bring me to this.
Right. So don't let the word new fool you folks, because he's been at this for a while, but it's just nice that he's been able to put it all together and now do it when he's got the time to really do it the way he wants to do it without being thrown into it in your 20s, like you said, to really see what other people have, the successes and the not so easy things that people have gone through in the business, and to do your best to have it come out right. And it's worked. It's worked. The formula's worked.
Well, and I was a marketing and advertising guy, so I take that part of it seriously too. That's a part of being a musician today, is making sure you're telling your story to folks and getting it out there. So I focus on that a lot, and it's important. You don't want to be ignored, but you can't sit in your room all day. You got to get the stuff out there. And you and I were talking before we went on the air here that we were not a touring band that made an album. We're a studio band that made an album and did not tour to support it because we got together in the studio. So we did it a little bit backwards. We made our music out there travel for us rather than us travel and tell the story of the music. So it was a little bit different, and that's the only way we could have done it. I couldn't have gotten bookings. I couldn't have been out there playing. We had to do the album first, so we did.
And it worked out well because I think we're fortunate to be living in a time when the internet is what it is, because my son can't believe that I was alive when the internet didn't exist. I mean, his fingers are stuck to his phone, 24/7. And so, to be able to reach the world from sitting at home on our computer, and you build audiences, you start to see certain countries. I mean, and I'm sure you've seen it too. You've seen with your social media and things, you see that all of a sudden there's a blip somewhere in another part of the world that people all of a sudden just gravitate towards your music.
Yeah, France, I can't explain it, but France has been just tremendous for us. We've had a lot of radio play in France. We have a lot of Facebook followers in France. And that's just kind of cool. I mean, how could that have happened? That never
Right.
would have happened before. And we've done well in Australia and Germany and Mexico, just places like that. It's really, I mean, it's kind of humbling that wow, somebody you've never met, they have no reason to know who we are or to really be exposed to our music, and somehow they stumble upon it and they listen, and that's really cool.
It's exciting. I mean, I just very happy for you and for all the artists out there who can do this kind of thing now in 2025, to be able to reach the world with this. And like you said, meet people that don't know you. They have never heard your name. You wouldn't have run into them in the grocery store. You wouldn't have seen them on
Yeah.
stage at the Madison Square Garden. I mean, they found you through a search on the internet, or to just, spend some time going through good music, and they found you. So
Yeah, that's and I also learned for musicians that you really, it's something you need to spend time with every day, is getting your story out there. It's just like playing music and learning to play an instrument. You should do it every day. And the same thing for helping promote your music and let people know about it. And once I got that in my head of, hey, this is something I ought to spend some time with every day, things started to click. It starts with good music, hopefully. But once you have that, you got to do more than that, right? Better mousetrap isn't the way to make it happen. You gotta help people understand what you got.
that's for sure. I kind of like to take a little bit of that sentence, that the paragraph you just were talking about, and make it a public service announcement for my music students. Say, you got to practice every day. I tell them, I say, the word practice to a music teacher, oh, it's just wonderful. It just sounds so bright, crisp, and they laugh at me and everything. But it's true. And it's so fun. I think it's fun if you write a song and you write the lyrics to memorize them and to hear them evolve, and maybe you sing a different way, you do a different path with the melody, or you get more comfortable with the lyrics. It's fun. It's fun to review, and then realize, hey, it's in my hands already. The chords are in my hands. I'm not looking at a lead sheet. I've memorized it, because people assume that because you wrote a song, you know it, right? Until that moment when you're on the stage and it's like you got people staring at you, right?
Well, so we had the studio album that was called Stuck in the Mud. It came out in late 2024. And then we followed it up with our live album called Live in Clarksdale. It was the first show we had ever done as a band together. Now, I played plenty of shows, and so had all the guys in the band. But we didn't know those songs. We made them in the studio.
Right.
And so they never really existed until they were made in the studio. And then I had to learn them. And so we got together as a band for the first time the day before the show that we recorded and filmed. And Ralph Carter, our producer, I said, Ralph, how do we rehearse? How do we do this? He said, you relax. I'll get you through this. And he had a way of bringing the band together and helping us to know. We sent the music out in advance and people could listen to it, because our musicians came from Tennessee, Mississippi, Indianapolis, and so we brought them all together. And the first time we got together was the day before, but we'd all heard it, and Ralph really gelled us as a group. And then we went on the stage the next day and did the show and filmed it. That was our first show. And if you want to see what our first show looks like, go to Live in Clarksdale. And there's a video of it as well, and it's up on our YouTube channel and all that stuff. But you're right, Kevin. It was weird. It's like, whoa, I should know these songs. I wrote the lyrics. I know them. But it's like, no, I didn't. I had to learn them in the car. I had to listen to them and sing along with my own music, which seemed a little like, wow, you really think a lot of yourself, huh, pal?
Well, because there's so many songs, though, too, over time, as you continue to record music, you could say, what's that one song everybody likes on that first live album we did? I got to really get that back in my fingers again and my vocals, because here we are. And, many famous musicians that have toured for 30, 40 years that are household names now, like they'll tell you that, people think that they do it on purpose when they forget lyrics, but they forget them all the time for their songs, iconic songs that they wrote. They forget lyrics on stage, and people cheer because it shows that they're human. Because they shows they're human. They think they did it on purpose for the publicity, and it just cracks me up.
No, I marvel at how, you see Dylan or somebody who's got hundreds and thousands of songs, and I'm looking, it's like, how can you remember that song? Right. I just don't get it. I'm so awed. I saw Willie Nelson on a video here that was filmed, maybe in the last year or so. And I think he had some sheet music up in front of him. And I was like, well, thank God you're human, You're in your 90s, and I don't expect you to remember every word you ever wrote, because you wrote thousands upon thousands of them. So I actually smiled and hope he wasn't bummed out for having to do it, because, hey, that's okay, buddy.
That's right. That's for sure. That's for sure. So here we are in November of 2025. I can't believe it. And because I feel like I was maybe standing on a ladder taking lights down just a couple months ago, and here I am. I have to go back out there and put lights back on the house again for the holiday season. And in time for the holiday season, of course, you and your band have recorded not one, but two Christmas songs, which is great. The one that I think will, just by title, grab people's attention, saying, and the blues talk about some hard times sometimes, but I think the title will grab their attention. Christmas in Jail. Christmas in Jail. And what I thought was really fun is I always try to search around a little bit before I talk to people and just look at different things that they do. Of course, that's part of my job, is to know who I'm talking to. And went onto YouTube and found the lyric video for Christmas in Jail.
Oh, yeah, right.
Okay, with the spinning record, and and this flips over and spins and everything. I love it. And the lyric video, so you had the words. So what my suggestion is to people who are listening and who hear the song, instead of going to the holiday party this year and having a sing along of Jingle Bells 5 times and being the 6th person to go up and sing it, get the lyric video for Christmas in Jail and go up there and sing along with the recording and have people hear this song and understand that maybe it wasn't the reindeer, they'll assume that it has something to do with grandma got run over by a reindeer. Maybe it wasn't the reindeer. Maybe it was Christmas in jail. If they link it together, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just not saying that that's what it's about. I'm just saying putting the thoughts together. Say, this would be a good follow up to Grandma got ran over by a reindeer. Just bring this song to your holiday party. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you know that song. It's a cover, and a lot. Most of the recordings I've done are original songs, but this one is from 1929. It was written by I wrote it down because they're unsung. I don't even know who they are. Floyd
Right.
Thompson and J.E. Guernsey, and they were recorded by Leroy Carr. This song was recorded by Leroy Carr and Scrapper Blackwell. I've done a couple of their covers before, and they're very special to me personally because they lived their lives and recorded and played in Indianapolis, where I live. So Scrapper and Leroy recorded this song in Chicago, Kevin, in August of 1929 and released this song, Christmas in Jail. And so we did a cover of that. And I will say, cover, I'll use that loosely because we really reinterpreted it. You can go out on the internet and go YouTube and look up Leroy Carr and Scrapper Blackwell, and you can hear the original. And it's quite different from our rendition. So I give a lot of credit to the studio and the band. We recorded in Memphis, Tennessee at Royal Studios. And Royal is where Al Green recorded, and Ike and Tina, and Bobby Bland, and Buddy Guy, and Robert Cray, and Rod
Wow.
Stewart, Chuck Berry, and the sound. It's that Memphis sound, and so the band backing me, and that's the thing about the Tellers is I call them the Tellers, my band, Christopher Wyze and the Tellers, because these people help me tell the story. They're the tellers, and we used the house band for Royal Studios, which is called the High Rhythm Section. They recorded many records on their own. These folks have been at it a long time, and we met and got together for the first time in the studio there, and we sort of built this song up out of nothing. And so we recorded it pretty much live. There might have been a couple things dropped in later, but to hear that Memphis sound and to put our own kind of spin on the ball was just really a ton of fun. And I hope people enjoy it. I don't want to make light of Christmas in jail. There are people who they're not home for the holidays.
Yeah.
And so somebody said blues and Christmas. What's that all about, man? I'm like, well, hey, we've all had that feeling of, at Christmas time, you get a little melancholy, you get a little nostalgic for maybe it's your grandparents who may not be there anymore, or, some loved ones who aren't with you. You think about things like that, and it can be a little bit of a blue time as well. So, hey, we doubled down with Christmas in jail, and that can be a little blue, I think. And then we got Lena Beach on guitar, who's a young person who joined the High Rhythm Section. I just want to call her out. She's going to be a great musician, and you'll know her name. So Lena's playing guitar on our record there, and it was just so much fun to. That studio was built in 1915. It was an old movie theater.
Oh my
It's been,
goodness.
I think it's the longest continuously operating studio in America. Now, they started in the 50s as a recording studio after it was a movie theater, but it's been around a long time. And we actually filmed Christmas in Jail that'll come out. We got a video of it coming out of the live session. So if people want to see what it looks like inside of that really cool old studio, here soon in a week or two, we'll release the video of the live session of Christmas in Jail.
I will be sure to look at that. That sounds amazing. And I have to imagine, I mean, I think even as a music fan, as a spectator walking into a studio like that, I would get a chill. I mean, you were playing in there. Think about that.
Yeah,
It's like sacred ground of
it's
musicians.
sacred.
Oh
Yeah,
my
it
goodness.
really was. It really was. And the funny thing is, I think if I'd have been young, I think I'd have been daunted by these kinds of things. But at my age, you've screwed up a lot of stuff. You made a lot of mistakes. And now for me, music's just all about joy. And if I make a mistake, I just go on and move on. And I think in things outside of music, I struggle. You kind of regret or you grind on it. I don't do that with music. I don't know why. Maybe that's why music's so special because to me, it's just all upside. There are no mistakes. You just go forward. You play the next note, you sing the next note. And I'm glad I was in that studio at
Yeah,
this point in my life to be able to drink it all in rather than be sort of nervous or daunted by it.
absolutely. Because now it's done for joy, and it's fun to watch the results of the joy that you have found in your own life with the music. You've done music your whole life, but now you get to do it for other people even more so than you did on a stage back in the day. You're on this
Yeah.
stage. You're on a larger stage, the world stage now because of the internet and because of the fact that you'll be out there in 26 as you had mentioned, doing a couple shows here and there, sprinkling a couple shows
Yeah.
throughout the country or in your backyard there in the middle Midwest. But it's an exciting time to be able to do it now because again, like you said, you don't look back on the musical things. And if you play a wrong note, is there a wrong note in music? Is there a wrong
No,
note?
no. Yeah, I love that you said that, Kevin, because I feel that same way. It just is. It just happened. And part of your ability as a musician is not to be perfect, but to go with what you got, you know? And
Right.
it's what you got to do. The show must go on, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, I got to tell you about my second Christmas song.
Yes, yes,
I
please,
know,
please.
I got to watch the clock here a little bit, but Heart's Christmas Blue is the second song, which is an original. Okay, it's a Christopher Wise and the Tellers original. I recorded that one again in Memphis there with Emma Wilson, who's a great English blues singer. She just won I wrote it down here. She won the British Blues Challenge about 10 days ago in London and will be coming to the U.S. to compete in January. So Emma's a great singer. She and I both work with the same record distribution and label company. And they introduced me. They said, "You ought to know Emma." And I sent her an email and I said, "Oh, it'd be great to meet you sometime." She said, "I'm coming to the U.S." I said, "When? Where?" "Memphis, this date." I said, "Wait a minute. What if I wrote a song? If I wrote a song, would you record it with me?" And she said, "Yes." So I grabbed
Wow.
Ralph Carter. We got Emma now. We put the band together, and then all three of us collaborated. So we're all co-writers, me, Emma, and Ralph on this song, and then went in the studio. And it's a love story. You know, it's that yearning of at Christmas we think about somebody we used to pine for, and an old
Uh-huh.
sweetheart or something. Well, I tried to write this song as a kind of an old 1940s, 50s thing, and to kind of make it nostalgic about two people kind of wishing they could be back together. I won't tell you what happens, though. You got to listen to the story.
That's right. You got to listen to it for the story and for the ending. Yes. Yes. I love this song. I really do. And I was listening to it, and it's so interesting to me how one note, how a chord can change the timbre of one note. Because I
Mm.
love the one place where it's da da da. And I've listened to that. I'm like, that's just a second. That's one step up. But but the chord behind it makes it sound so different, like nothing I've ever heard. It's like, wow, that's neat. And it's in every
Well, that's
verse.
Ralph Carter. That's my co-writer, Ralph Carter. He is a brilliant musician, and he developed the music side. I write the lyrics, and then the three of us collaborated and made it all work. And
Yeah.
I love that note there too. And Kevin, the fact that you could sing it back to me, that really means the world to me, and I would think to Ralph too that because I know he would, he's at a point in his career. He's trying to do things that people notice and recognize as, wow, that's cool. So thank you for that.
That's my standout note in the whole song. I listened to it, like, oh, it's so cool how
I
it,
love it too. I love it. I
yeah,
love singing it.
yes, yes. So, yeah, they're both wonderful songs, and it's a great time of year now that people are hearing about the band and seeing the live in Clarksdale, all these different videos and YouTube that split, shorts and things like that. They're saw the award and say, "Who is this guy? Best new award." Some of those people looking up some of the other categories are going, "Hey, I don't know that. I gotta check that out." That's one of the best things about winning a Best New Artist Debut Award. People that don't know your name yet, I say yet because they will, but those people who don't know your name yet will want to go and say, "Who is this guy?"
Yeah, and Kevin, I just say, folks, go to the website, ChristopherWise.com, WYZE, ChristopherWise.com. We got links to everything, YouTube channel, we got all sorts of those, links to the new music. And so ChristopherWise.com, go there, listen to our music, and come on board. We'd love to have you as a listener and enjoy our music. We sure enjoy doing it. And I enjoy being on your show.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate your time once again today. You're always so generous with your time and your stories and your music, and I just feel very grateful to you for sharing that with people who are just going to fall in love with what you're doing.
Well, I'm grateful to you too for helping us get it out there. So thank you, Kevin.
You have a great rest of your day, and we're looking forward to hearing this music throughout the holiday season. I hope they play the dickens out of it. I just hope it's played all the time, and I hope it becomes as much of a staple as some of those songs that we go, oh, that song again. Let him play it over and over.
That would be marvelous. Thanks,
Thank you
Kevin.
so much,
Great to be
Chris.
with you again.
You
Okay.
too. Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.